Wow. Wait, do you say hello? Welcome back to my channel.
I always say, what do I say? Hello. Welcome to Per My Last Email. Hello, and welcome back to Per My Last Email.
Hello, and welcome back to Per My Last Email. Just kidding.
You gotta do like this.
Hello. Hello, and welcome back to my. Welcome back to Per My. Hello, and welcome back to Per My Last Email. Is that good?
That was really cute.
Appreciate it.
That was really cute. Today we're going to talk all about millennial marriage, what it's like to be married in the 21st century.
How times have changed from the 1800s.
Yeah, because women actually have jobs now. So things are different. So do you think you can have it all, meaning an awesome job and an awesome marriage?
Yes, I do believe you can have it all because times are different, right? Now, both the husband and the wife, or both spouses are working in the relationship. There's not necessarily a traditional role in the household anymore like it used to be. You know, you would have the husband and the wife coming home at the same time now versus one person waiting on the other. And of course, as long as you're reasonable about what it is that you want it all about, then I think it could definitely be accomplishable, right? You can have a great career and you can have a happy marriage, you can have kids, travel. I believe anything is possible, especially if you work hard and communicate effectively, right?
Yeah. I think the reason why I asked that question is because both jobs and relationships take time.
Yes.
And it's hard. I think the hard part about it is how much time do you spend at either? Because in order to have a good career, you have to spend a lot of time at your job. In order to have a good marriage, you have to spend a lot of time with your spouse. And it's only 24 hours in a day.
That is true.
And so it's just like, how do you do both and have both of them be awesome? Because I know your career, you spend a lot of time at your job and at doing other stuff that is going towards your career. And that means that we don't always spend a lot of time together. And I know a few weeks ago, I was like really upset because I just felt like you was always busy. You always had something to do. You was always gone. And I was just like, I need my time too. Like, you can't just abandon me. Like, I'm lonely. And so we had to have a conversation. And I was just telling you, remember? I was just like, I know that you're busy, but like, I need you here too. And since then, I think it's gotten better.
Well, yeah, so that could be really tough, especially with someone who has a lot on their plate.
Right,
Someone,
and who's really ambitious too, because
really
both of us are
right?
ambitious.
If you're really ambitious, then you can really get lost into like whatever you're trying to achieve. I think what we've been doing is just pretty much, I took it back to the basics. You know, I took it back to when we were long distance, either when you were in Nicaragua or I was in Jackson, you was in Louisiana, that having conversations on the phone, right? If I'm driving.
Oh, we do talk on the phone more.
Yeah, so during the day.
I know you did that.
Yeah, so like during the day, if I'm driving from one place to another or if I'm out of the office, I'll just give you a call. So I may not be there physically, but I'm still communicating. I think that is the number one key is effective communication, right? If you can't do it one way or the preferred way, at least try something to keep that line of communication open and just talking to your person, because you don't want to go a full 24 hours. Well, 16 hours because you got to sleep, right? You don't want to go a full 16 hours without talking to your spouse or working on your relationship and taking the stress off from work or whatever else you're doing, right? Because you should be able to find peace in your spouse,
right? And and about being present, like whenever you do come home, instead of like being on your phone or I'm on my phone after work, like we know that it's only a certain amount of time in a day, so it's like we really have to value the time that we spend together and like really just have quality time, looking eye to eye. I'm staring you in your face, like no phones, and we just have had to like actively spend time together, like actively choose to like be in tune with one another when we do have time together, because it's really few and far between that we actually get that time.
Right. And to have fun. I believe a lot of people will go to work, right? Or they'll be working towards something and they allow it to take like all of their energy. Like they fully give themselves whatever 8 hours of the day or your 9 to 5, right? And then you come home and you have no energy left.
Yes.
But yet your spouse or the person you're in a relationship with, they have all this energy. So you definitely have to reserve your energy and your time for your significant other. You just have to, I know you can get caught up with your coworkers and your family members and things of that nature. You can really just be drained, but you gotta be like, whoa, hold on, stop. I gotta say this last little bit. I gotta hold tight to it, man. I gotta wait till I get home. This is reserve. It's like a tank, right?
Right.
And the tank just go down, then it beep, right? It's almost like
that
gas light, man.
I know my car. I got 20 miles left. I know my car. I gotta go.
I gotta get, you do. That's true.
How do you think having two working spouses, especially a working wife, changes gender roles?
I think it's great, right? Two incomes always could be better than one income, right? I feel like if we were by ourselves, then we would still live good because of our income. But since we're like married and everything is one, we live really good. And then two, you're one of the smartest, like brightest, most intellectual person that I've ever known. And it's like, why would I want to confine you to four walls? You're so much more than that, right? If you could do both, that's great. But I wouldn't want you to just be one-sided, right?
But when it comes to gender roles, so like because we have two working spouses, traditionally you would have a person that works, i.e. the man, and then the woman would be home cooking, cleaning, and birthing children. And so my question is, since both of us work, how do we handle those gender roles that are traditionally left for the woman who did not always have a job?
Yeah, so that's a good question, right? So I look at it as if you had 10 roles, right, per gender. I think that like 8 of them maybe you can't use, right? You kind of got to merge them and you may keep 2. Like some people say, oh, only the man's going to take out the trash, whereas only the woman to do this, right? So that's one of the 2 things you may keep, but the rest of those quote unquote roles, I think you just merge them, right? You're going to have the wife that may cook, right? You may have the husband that may cook the next day. You may have the wife go grocery shopping this day. You may have the husband go, or you may go grocery shopping together. I think that you really need to split those things up and communicate about them, communicate effectively about them, because you definitely don't want one person feeling like, oh, I do all the work.
Especially because two people have
jobs.
So
both
it ain't
people
like
working hard.
Exactly. So it's like, I know for us, like if you had a long day, I just know like I'm just gonna cook. I'm just gonna get the groceries.
And you got to communicate that earlier in the day. You can't come 10 minutes before you get home. It's like, look, I'm not cooking. It's like, oh, I was expecting you to cook. Right. I was expecting you to cook. I was communicate it early.
Right. So communicating early is good, but also just like having the other person in mind. Like, okay, they woke up at 7 a day.
True.
They got off at 9 p.m. I'm just gonna go ahead and cook.
Go ahead and cook, right.
And even you, like if I call you during the day and I'm like, today is like the worst day ever. Like I'm not here for it.
And we could share that same feelings. Oh yeah, I had the worst day ever. I'm not stepping foot in the kitchen. Well, boom, we'll just go out to eat.
Wingstop
all day. Endorsement.
For real, they need to sponsor us because we be in there all the time. But just like knowing that because 2 of us work, neither one of us is solely responsible for anything except the trash. Right. I don't want to take out the trash, but everything else is like I don't expect him to do everything, and he doesn't expect me to do everything. It's kind of like we both are equal contributors in every facet. Right,
because I just feel like if one person did everything, then you have the other person that doesn't really do everything. It's like, oh my God, life's great, marriage is great. Like I couldn't have asked for a better spouse, but then you got the spouse that's right here doing everything. It's like.
My life sucks.
My life, it's tough, man. I didn't know I was about to do all of this.
Right. And I'm so glad that you, because the thing is, I told Pat from the jump, like, I'm not really domesticated like talking about.
She didn't say it like that, though.
I was just like, I mean, I will cook and I will clean.
And then sometime was.
But, like, that's not really my favorite thing to do. So, but he was surprisingly, he was like, "Oh, it's fine. Like, we'll do it together." I mean, granted, when we first got married and moved in together, I think he forgot that I said that because he was expecting me to like cook and clean and stuff, and I was like, hold up, I told you that's not me.
Yeah, I don't think you need to put this in the video because that's not true.
Why?
Because essentially you saying you said you weren't gonna cook and clean at all. I don't want to get into that on camera.
So you want us to have a fake relationship?
I'm not saying fake, but I'm gonna dispute that. I'm gonna be like, well, you wasn't doing enough. Do you want that to be on camera?
Okay, but I'm saying in the beginning, we were not clear about what exactly was equal. So I'm saying, okay. So like we said, okay, we're gonna be equal. Everything's gonna be equal. But then once we started living together, it turned out that it wasn't equal because some people were doing some things more than others. Oh, yeah. And that's where a lot of conflict arose because it's like, I thought we were gonna be equal, and your version of equal and my version of equal is not the same thing.
True.
And so we had to work out what really does equal mean. Like, what are my expectations for you as far as house chores go, and vice versa.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. For example, like when we first moved in, you know, it was very different, right? Because it was one person said this, one person said that, but them actions, they were different, right?
It was different, but that just, of course, back to communication. Had to just talk about it and be like, you said you was going, and you not doing what you said you was gonna do. So what's going on? What we doing?
Right.
What's happening? Let's go on the same page. Yeah. Especially because we didn't live together at first.
Yeah,
like we was all like, oh my God, we're so in love. Like we're gonna move in together. It's gonna be so great. Like I love you so much. Like oh my God, whatever you need.
I'm gonna cook that. I'm gonna be super husband. I'm gonna be super wife.
And then like we move in together. And it's like,
yeah, the first day out for work, you like, woo.
the first 2 months, first 3 months, 6 months was a transition. We was like, we was working really hard to get it together, and it wasn't easy at all.
Right.
How does having two working spouses affect your life in other ways, like pros and cons? So a pro, obviously, two working spouses means two incomes.
2 incomes, right.
But on the con side, it's like two working spouses means that if one person gets a new job, then two people have to uproot and move.
Yeah. And then of course, and I'll build on that con too. I'm gonna start on the negative side, right? Is that whenever you're trying to like schedule vacations, that's tough as well because I may be able to get off, but she may not be able to get off at the same time, or she can't spend as many days as I can spend on vacation. Or I remember when we was working at 2 different companies, I would be off on these holidays, right? Which was like federal holidays,
like President's Day,
and things of that nature.
And I was not off on President's Day,
but she was off on
Black Friday,
and I went off on Black Friday, and it was like,
yeah, that was hard.
That was really hard.
But especially like the whole moving thing, like if one of us had a job and the other person did it, then it's like if Pat got a job, I would just get up and go wherever he goes. But I mean, that happened to us because Pat literally did get a job and he had to move to Colorado, and I wasn't finna stay in Louisiana. I was like, I'm coming too. Yeah. And luckily, I had the flexibility to do so. Yeah. But it's like, I don't know if that's gonna always be the case.
And see, then that's another discussion that you have to have is that should that person move, uproot both people, or should you stay? And
because I had a job, like, I was going to an office, and with him moving, I had to kind of like scramble to figure out what I was going to do to accommodate what he was doing. Right. But at the same time, he did that for me at first because he moved to where I was initially, and then when he got his promotion, then I moved to where he was going.
Right.
And so,
and that's what has worked out best for us is that we've not been on the incline at the same time. It's always been like we'll be here, and then you had got like a promotion, right? So then I had followed you to Monroe, and then I got a promotion, and then you came along with me to Denver and these other places that we've gone. And it's just taking turns, allowing each other to grow and excel, and you being that support. And just say, hey, I got you. If we need to go here, we need to go there. I understand because you did it for me. Or it may come a day when I need you to take the back seat,
right,
and then support me.
right.
So,
and that's a pro and a con, because it's like a pro because you get a promotion, somebody's there to be like, oh my God, congratulations, you deserve it, more money. That's, of course, the money's like the biggest pro. But then a con of that is like somebody else is excelling, and you're kind of like, well, dang, I don't have a promotion, and you have to be supportive of that other person who is like doing good, and you're kind of like in the back seat. And so that's a pro and a con. Another con is, especially for us in the whole moving thing, is not being settled.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we're still trying to figure out what we want to do, where we want to be, where we want to live, what kind of job we want. And so it's hard for us to like get roots and get a house and be settled and just like do the whole adulting thing, because we're still in the transition phase.
Right. And I think that works out pretty good, because it allows us to visit these different states, these different cities, and say, oh, well, I definitely don't want to stay here, or I definitely want to stay here, and just experience like the world just from a different like part of this of the country. And then also, you know, while we're not being like, have we not put down roots, but we're still preparing to put down roots. So that has really helped us too, like not really committing to like a mortgage right away, and then we're just like, you know, setting things up, putting things in place, saving, planning.
Right. Do you think people should be established before they get married? Like you should have your career established, your job, like you should have everything in line before you commit to somebody?
Honestly, I guess yes and no, right? So let's look at if somebody wanted to get established first, right? It's just, I don't know, I just feel like if I come into your life like after you're established, and it's a lot of things that we have to then divide and see, okay, well, we're gonna live here, we're gonna live at this house, that house, and things of that nature, right? And I feel like it's so much of, oh, this is mine, mine's gonna stay over here, this is yours is stay over there. And that can work for a lot of people, but for me, I want to be there in the nitty gritty days, right? In the beginning, early stage,
eating hot and spices every week.
You know, when we was like, in college, and I can only afford to take you to Cane's, all the way up until now we go to Fogo de Chao, or steakhouses and fancy nice restaurants. I don't know. I think it's kind of intimate. Like I like that. I like that we've grown together versus you were already made and I just came along. I luckily stumbled across you, right?
Yeah, you're lucky. You're blessed.
So me, I prefer grinding it out in the beginning, like just growing, going from 0 to 100.
Yeah. On the other hand, it is difficult because finding yourself and finding your career is like. It's like a really hard transition.
It's a really hard transition.
And it's like, you really do change. Because I know I'm completely different than who I was in college. My interests are changed. My interests have changed. Who I am, how I think, everything has changed. And so it's like you might have fell in love with me in one way, and then I changed into a different person. You're like, I didn't know you was going to be this person. I didn't sign up for that. But luckily, we've grown together. But or even like having, like knowing, like my roots are in Louisiana. I'm going to be in Louisiana. My house is in Louisiana. So that's like more security to where like when you get married, like we're going to be in Louisiana. So like I feel safe in that regard. Because it is scary to know like Pat and I don't know where we're going to be at in 5 years. We have no idea where we're going to be, what we're going to be doing. And so like that sense of security is something that I feel like people shouldn't take for granted, because it's nice to know where you're going to be. But I think it goes both ways. You can do both.
You can do both. You can do both. It's just, whatever you prefer, right? Whatever makes you happy, I say, hey, go ahead.
Yeah. So what do you think about the whole Twitter arguments? People always be on Twitter about like, oh, should significant others split bills? Like when like people be like, oh, I'm a woman, my husband paid the rent, he paid the bills, and I just be chilling. Do you think the man should take the bulk of like the bill responsibility and the woman just kind of like is taken care of?
Again, hey, to each his own. Like whoever does it that way, I'm not knocking you at all, but me, us, we really don't roll it away. We had the conversation really early on because we was like, well, what if somebody makes $30,000 or $40,000 more than the other person? You go on a date and then the money is separated. Do Bria eat a $50 steak and I eat a $15 chicken tender dinner?
You eat that
$12.99,
kids meal,
kids
chicken
meal,
dinner and fries.
right? And that's essentially what would that's essentially how it would be if you separating money, right?
Right. And I think the biggest problem with that whole man pays the bills thing is like, that's under the assumption that the man is the breadwinner.
It's the breadwinner, right?
So if the woman is the breadwinner, the woman is making $300,000 and the man's making $40K, the man gonna pay the bills. Y'all gonna be staying in a rinky-dink apartment because the man's paying the bills. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that, in my opinion, I feel like both money should pool together. Your assets should be together, so that way you can afford something that is on both persons' level, both incomes level.
And you can make decisions together as well. And you really should take out any ego, any pride when you're doing it, because at the end of the day, what you have is your spouse, right? And that's the person that's going to always support you and be there for you and love you and care for you. And you don't want to let money be the reason you have strife in your marriage, in your household, because it could get really, really, really ugly.
Yeah.
When it comes down to money.
And I think especially like back in the day, it's like men control women so often because they had all the money.
Oh, yeah.
So like they determined where we was going to eat, where we were going to stay, what we going to do, because the man just had the money. And I think when women started to have jobs, we have more flexibility. Like we have more say. Like, I don't want to go there. I don't want to stay there. I don't want to buy that.
I was having a conversation with this guy one time, and he was telling me about how, he was a little discouraged or upset, or his pride was a little hurt because his wife made more money than he did. And then afterwards he got really happy when he got a promotion and she actually got a demotion, and now he started making more money than him, and he was like happy about it. And I was like, are you serious? Like, are you crazy? Like, why in the world would you want to have less income in your household regardless of who's making it? Like, if Bria made $250,000 and I made 30, I'm 20,
10,
whatever it may be. Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh well, I mean, I'll be glad when you lose some money. That's crazy. Like, if you were to get a promotion, if you worked hard and you got a promotion and you just so happen to surpass that other person's income while it still stayed or it still increased as well, that is the best way to be. Not, oh man, I wish you made 1,000 less so I could be head of household. But at the end of the day, you both lose. Like that's not good at all.
If the woman is the head of the household, if the woman makes more money, do you think that she should be the person that's responsible for?
That's a good question.
Household decisions.
I don't think money determines who's the head of household. I believe the person who exhibits leadership should be head of household, right? Because you could be the man and you make the most money, right? But you're not savvy with the finances, keeping up with the bills, right? You make all this money, but time flies by and it's the first, right? And then you miss the mortgage payment, and it's who. The person who exhibits that leadership, takes in that role, who's good at that role, right? The person who is familiar with handling accounts, like the person that's good at being a visionary, setting everything up for the future, right? Like taking out health insurance, right? Yeah. Making sure you got medical insurance, making sure the accounts are separated accordingly. Like the person who's obsessed with checking the mail, like that's the type of stuff that like if that's Bria, if that's me, whoever it is, I believe that's the person that should be head of household.
In the comments, comment below who you think is
just the most responsible person. Whoever's the most responsible person is the head of household. And but see, I don't think just because you make the most money or you're the most responsible person that I think there are many different phases in your life or parts in your life to where one person can be the leader over the next, right? If one spouse is great at planning vacations, let that person do it, right? If one person is great at choosing where to eat, let that. So it's always gonna be a shift. Yeah, it's always gonna be a shift of power, and you shouldn't get caught up on, or well, you do this that makes you head of household. I mean, just be a team.
I'm the man.
Just be a team, man. I think people waste so much time on that. And you know what? Also, you can get messed up with like doing that head of household thing, or who you forget to actually love each other, have fun, like be close. Like you're worried about all these rules that go on in other people's marriage or relationships, right? Yes. And now you trying to fit that in, and you were perfectly happy, but just because you had a conversation with John and Sally, you was like, oh man, maybe we should do that. And it's like, well, maybe we shouldn't.
Right.
Life is good.
I tell people all the time, you don't need to take relationship advice from nobody but your spouse. Period. The only person you should be listening to on what you should do in your relationship is the person that's in a relationship with you. Nobody else, not your mama, not your daddy, because they're not in it. Don't ask him. Don't ask them because they don't know. At the end of the day, I just want both of us to have more money.
Right. And be happy.
Be happy and have more money.
And just make it work as a team.
Right. As long as we happy, that's fine. As long as we making more money. I feel like those are our two determinants. Like, we make decisions based off of, is it going to make us happy? Yes. Is it going to make us more money? Yes. Let's do it. If you don't meet those two criteria, it's not going to happen. Period.
It's not going to happen.
That's all I have for today. Thank you for tuning in to Per My Last Email. If you liked Patrick as my special guest, like, comment, subscribe.
This gonna be the most liked, most viewed interview.
Okay, Takashi. Thank you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.